My question is, what is the central idea of dealing with stress and strong emotions? So I need to find the central idea of this article. I'm supposed to write a paragraph about this article. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna need to find my evidence. Let's see. I'm dealing with stress and strong emotions by looks like by Gale, the Cengage Learning. Okay, and let's see. Major types of stress is one heading. Problems associated with stress, dealing with psychological stress. All right, so it looks like this is going to be talking about stress. Let's go ahead and get started with the article. And most likely it's going to be something about dealing with stress, but let's go and see what I can find. Stress is a response to things that frighten us. When you are in danger, your breathing and heartbeat quicken. This response helps you face the danger. The same thing can also happen when there is no real danger. Sometimes just thinking about something unpleasant is enough to make you feel stressed. For example, have you ever felt nervous about going to the dentist? This kind of stress is known as psychological stress. Okay, so that's what stress is. Major types of stress. Let's see. Things that cause stress are called stressors. They can be either short term or long term. A short term stressor is a situation that lasts for a limited time. The stress it causes disappears once the situation is over. For example, you might feel stressed before an important test. Once the test is over, that stress goes away. You might feel stressed about writing a paragraph too. Okay. A long term stressor is something that causes stress over a long period of time. For example, being poor can cause constant stress. It makes people worry about paying their bills. There are three common kinds of stress. The first is survival stress. This happens when you're facing danger. All right, so right now, let me go back and think about this for a second. So we're talking about stressors, which is things that cause stress. Let's see, there's long-term and short-term stressors. And now we've talked about survival stress when you're facing danger. I don't really feel a lot of survival stress because I'm not very often having to run from lions trying to eat me. What else is there? Let's see, environmental stress is the second kind. It is caused by unpleasant things you run into all the time. Okay, that makes sense. This is more common. This is more of what I think about when I think of stress. For example, loud noises, bright lights, crowds, and automobile traffic can all cause stress. They are not dangerous, but they are stressful. The third kind of stress is internal stress. It is not caused by something outside of you. Instead, it's caused just by thinking about certain things. For example, many people find having to give a speech to a crowd very stressful. All right. So there are different types of stress that we could be affected by. All right. And there are different stressors that cause it. And stress is when something frightens us. And I guess when frightened, that could be like a big fright or a small fright. But okay, that kind of makes sense. So this is definitely dealing with the different types of stress. So I'm going to find some evidence up here later. Let me go and finish reading the article, and then I can go back and start really thinking about it. Problems associated with stress. Being stressed is a good thing when you're facing danger. Changes your body, make you stronger and faster. These changes are hard on your body, still they only last a short time. Psychological stress is much more harmful. It can cause serious problems. When it is long term, it can keep you from sleeping and make you sick. Okay, so we have stresses that can make you, there's lots of different types of stress and they can hurt you. All right. There are ways to reduce psychological stress. Slow, deep breathing is one good trick. If you feel stressed, pay attention to your breathing. Try to breathe more and more slowly. Doing this will help you calm down. Talking about your worries is another good way to reduce stress. Talking to a friend or parent. Stress grows when you keep it to yourself. You can also talk to a therapist or school counselor. They are trained to help you feel better. So I'm looking for the central idea, which is what most of this article talked about. You know, this was important stuff, but I don't really know if this was the central idea. These are all really good tips, but really this article dealt with the different types of stress and how they affect us. So I think that's more of what my article's about. I thought this was very important when it talked about that psychological stress is very harmful and can cause long-term problems. That really seemed to be important to me. What else? Um, let's see. When they dealt with different times of stressors, that you have short-term and long-term stressors. I thought this was an important bit of information because there are different types of stressors. Let's see, what else? Um, Sometimes stress can come from all kinds of things. Sometimes just thinking about stuff can be stressful. So if I'm thinking of the central idea, what does most of this evidence support? Things that can cause stress are called stressors. They can be short-term or long-term. Psychological stress is much more harmful. Sometimes just thinking about something unpleasant enough to make you feel stressed. I think this is all going to supporting the idea that there are many types of stress that can affect a person. I think that's the central idea of the story. Now, if that's going to be my central idea, looking at my evidence, I think these are the two that I want to use. I'm going to go and get rid of this third one because I only need two for my paragraph. So I now have my answer to my question. All right. Now I need to actually write this as a paragraph. So to do that, I'm going to need to go through and write this properly. So let's go ahead and start writing. In the article, dealing with stress and strong emotions, written by Gail, the central idea is that there are many types of stress that can affect a person. All right. So now I have my topic sentence. I'm going to make my topic sentence green. That's just a good habit to get into. We're going to go over that when we go over topic sentences, but topic sentences should be green in our writing. Then I have my evidence. There are things called stressors. They can be either short-term or long-term. Well, this is actually evidence. I need to put that in quotes because I copied and pasted this because this is a citation. The author stated, there we go. Now I have a piece of it. Now I have an evidence sentence. Evidence should be highlighted yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. All right. So I have my first evidence sentence. I'm going to go and get my second evidence sentence ready. Psychological stress is much more harmful. It can cause serious problems, when it is long term, it can keep you from sleeping and make you sick. So, furthermore, the author added here. All right, so now I have my two evidence sentences ready to go. Now for the hard part. The hard part in writing a paragraph is the analysis sentences, which are going to be read. So let's go ahead and get ready to write our analysis sentences and see what we can write. So how does that first sentence support my topic sentence? The author stated that things cause stress are called stressors. They can be short-term or long-term. All right. And my central idea is there are many types of stress that can affect a person. So how does this support that there are many types of stress that can affect a person? Well, I could go through and just kind of explain. Either type of stress can have a strong effect on someone. I want to add a little bit more detail to that. So we have short-term and long-term. And short-term can affect some parts of our life. Long-term can affect others. So I could add something like that. These can come from different areas of our lives. All right. So there's some analysis. It's not perfect, but it'll work for now. Maybe I could revise that later. Furthermore, the author added psychological stress is more harmful, can cause serious problems when it's long-term, and keep you from sleeping and staying sick. And we talked about that these types of stress can affect a person. So let me go ahead and get my color to red. Make sure I'm not highlighting. All right, so how does that support my topic sentence? This is definitely having a big effect as affecting a person. So these negative effects from stress can be a serious problem in a person's life. There we go. I kind of explained my own thoughts about how that actually supports the topic sentence, and I am good to go. So I think I am done with my paragraph. Now that I have it written, I should go back and review it. And after I go back and review this paragraph and proofread it, I should be ready to turn it in.